I welcome you back to Analytics with Snow. My name is Upendra, and today in this video we are going to talk about another practical aspect of data science related to visualization, and that is life factor. So whenever we are given some data and once we have drawn some insights out of that particular data, it becomes natural for us to be able to showcase those insights in the form of a visualization graphic, right? And while doing so, our objective should be to make sure that the insights as drawn from the data are correctly represented in the visualization graphic. In other words, whatever insights are drawn from the data, the same should be present in the visualization graphic also without any exaggeration, right? So this brings us to the definition of life factor. So what is life factor? Life factor is a ratio of the size of an effect in the graphic to size of an effect in the data, right? And what should our objective be? Our objective should be to make sure that whatever effect is there in the data, the same should be highlighted in the graphics also. That means, in other way, what we are trying to do is we are trying to avoid that exaggeration thing and to make sure that this particular life factor remains as small as possible, right? So let's take two different scenarios. We have two different scenarios corresponding to scenario 1 and scenario 2, and both of these graphs represent the same information, that is GDP per capita for 5 different countries. So what we notice from scenario 1 is that the GDP for country C is less compared to other countries, but then it is not negligible, right? However, when we move to scenario 2, what we see is that scenario 2 gives us a picture that somehow the GDP per capita for the country C is negligible, right? Again, the numerical values are same. However, the interpretation that we are getting out of these two different graphs is different. And why is it different? Because we have chosen different values on the y-axis, right? So this is one example in which we are encountering a life factor. And why are we encountering a life factor? We are encountering a life factor because whatever insights are present in the data, the same are not being shown in the visualization graphic. So obviously the natural question comes up is how to minimize this life factor. So there are multiple ways that you can go for. The first thing that you can go for is to report mean along with the variance. So instead of saying that the height of men is 177 centimeters, for example, what could be the better way? The better way could be to report the mean along with the variance also, right? Then it makes sense to maintain a healthy aspect ratio whenever we choose a visualization graphic. And the golden rule is to go for an aspect ratio that is around 1.6. And what is aspect ratio? It's basically the ratio of width to the height of the visualization graphic. So whenever you are choosing a visualization graphic, care should be taken to make sure that this aspect ratio remains around 1.6. Then additionally, one must make sure that the axes are labeled properly, not only the y-axis but also the x-axis, and care should be taken to make sure that origin is also reflected in the graph. For example, if I look at these two particular graphs, scenario 1 and scenario 2, what we see is that in scenario 1, origin is correctly shown on the y-axis, and that is why it is giving a more balanced representation of the data. On the other hand, when we talk about scenario 2, the y-axis does not start with 0, right? So there is some misrepresentation as shown in scenario 2, right? So scenario 2 is giving us an enhanced value of life factor, and in a way it is representing the facts as contained in the data, right? So I hope you have understood this basic notion of life factor, and you will take the proper steps to make sure that this factor remains as small as possible in any of your visualization exercises. In case you have any questions pertaining to this particular topic, put them in the comment section and I will be more than happy to answer. For more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to this particular channel and share the videos along with your colleagues. With this, I now sign off.